Yeah. Bridget, Doc. It is a couple minutes after 8. I will call this meeting to order. Certificate the open meeting laws requirement have been met, I believe. I'm looking for a nod from Mary, but I think I saw everything.
Yes.
Okay, yep, thank you. We have a 17-item agenda this morning.
Move to approve.
Okay,
Second.
motion second. Any questions, changes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adoption of minutes from the previous meetings.
Motion to adopt.
Second. Any questions, adjustments? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Okay, we have a public comment period. Members of the public will have a 15-minute block of time to comment on today's agenda items. Members may be present in person or call in to make such comments. To comment by telephone, please call 715-538-1894. Public comment may be extended or curtailed at the discretion of the committee/board chair after advisement by committee board. Is there anybody here in person? I don't see anybody, but if there's somebody here wishing to comment on the agenda, I don't see anything on the phone, so we'll leave it open for a few minutes and move on. Morning, John.
Morning.
County sales tax and fund updates.
I
was
think
in
I
the
have a
pack.
typo.
What's that?
I think I have a typo. It's got 307,000, I think it's 207,000, sorry.
I said, boy, that really jumped up.
I apologize, I'll double check that. But it's still going in a good direction.
It's going the right direction.
Yeah.
So far, we're holding our own on sales tax. Anybody have any questions on sales tax?
I don't think it goes.
Okay. General fund, it looks to me no changes. I'm expecting some upward changes shortly, but they seem to be a long time coming. Okay. Item 7, Department reports and requests, Register of Deeds with Sue Ackerman. Is she here yet? I don't see her. Well, we'll give her a little time and move on to Treasurer with Michelle? Not here?
She sent her report in, but I don't.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on any of those? Well, if somebody does show up to talk to us, we'll move back to them. Item 8, discussion, possible action on the resolution of the 2024 ATC funds. That, for anybody that wasn't up to speed on it, that came up a month or so ago, that those funds were put on postponed back in January of 24, yeah.
Yes.
And nothing's been done with it. It's just, it's sitting there.
Yep.
It was originally designated to go to the park. The question now has come up since, is that still the most pressing need for it, or is there some other useful, or where do we go? Do we want to take it back, or do we want to approve sending the money over to parks?
Put it back in general fund.
Well,
Parks has
we
got
have,
enough.
before we do that, I think we have to do some checking, because there was restrictions to those funds.
Yep, I think there was something to do with that, where you could only use it certain places.
And now I'm thinking that something along with conservation or something like that might be a possible application. I don't remember the exact wording of it, but it had to go to for environmental or conservation or,
Something like that.
Yep,
something
it's-
like that?
It's the third paragraph in that old resolution that I sent you guys. It was
Okay.
the intent of CapEx environmental adjustment payments is to provide funds for park improvements, to purchase environmentally sensitive sites, to make wetland improvements, and to assist in mitigating the negative impacts of the power line project. So
So-
those would be your options.
Well, then it could probably stay
I'll-
where it is.
How long
I'll
can we
start
keep
with
it
giving
in
my
there?
opinion. I'd be inclined to look at this more closely before we do any, and see if there's some wetland improvement, some possibly, what do you call it, for some of the trout streams. Those would all fit, I believe, under the category that we're talking about. And I'm not, the one comment I had was the park is doing okay right now. I'm not on that committee, I'm not sure. But just, I think we should look into, before we do anything else, see if anybody from conservation has any suggestions to request something and see, and then we can decide which one's more important at this point. 2 years ago, the park was kind of the big thing, but it seems like they've kind of got their, I'm not on that committee. And everybody could always use more money, but, any other comments? Dottie?
Yeah, it does say, for park improvements, so they're thinking of doing some improvements out there, with the
Yeah.
facilities and stuff, so maybe we should really contact them before.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Before we
Yeah,
make a decision,
yeah.
we should talk to that department, to talk to others that might be able to benefit from this, and then bring it back here with other suggestions.
Yeah.
And then we make the decision who needs it worse.
It'd be nice to see if Petrie Park's, that's gonna be a costly little addition,
Yeah.
with that acreage they got from the Shanks, so.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's smart just to put it off to maybe next month if we get more information on what they're.
Right, unless
What's the dollar amount we're talking?
162 and change, yeah.
Ooh,
Is there a timeline when we have to utilize those monies?
I don't know that answer.
The auditors recognized that it was still sitting out there, but there was no wording or
No wording,
information
so-
saying it had to be
So we
spent.
apparently have a little time to work with it yet. Barring an objection, I will move that on for more discussion for next month. I don't hear an objection. Number 9, discussions, update, possible action on county code of conduct and ethics ordinance with Susan.
Good morning.
Excuse me just a minute. By the way, I'm going to close out the public session since I remembered it at a fairly reasonable time. I don't see the phone ringing.
So I had handed out, and Bridget, I think I just sent it to you, but in Word as well. And the version I sent to Supervisor Turner is slightly updated from the one that I printed out for today, and I can talk about that if you would like. But what is in front of you is 2.02, and then I believe it goes on a little bit further in Chapter 2 of our ordinance. And anything that's in red would indicate something that has been changed. And largely, you'll notice that there's some slight cleanup just to kind of fix typos or maybe to fix capitalization or something like that. And I should add, what you have in front of you is an active document. It is, currently has my comments and so forth. But it does indicate what's been worked on. So just going through page 2.3, you'll notice that there's some changes at the bottom under E. That is because it's very similar to the WCA's recommended code of conduct. If you go to page 2.9 and 203. And so some of this was just making sure we didn't have duplicate provisions in other parts of the ordinance. And so 2.03 largely reflects what is the WCA's recommended code of conduct, except for those earlier provisions. I think we had one on dress, which is on 2.10. The texting, I think, was also another one, which is also on 210. It is largely it's the same or similar to what you guys had considered before. I do want to point out, though, that, again, there were some duplicate provisions between what was already in 2.02 and what's in the WCA. So where you see strike-through language, where you see, the red, that's where there's the change. And as I indicated, if I saw a typo or something that could be cleaned up, I went through and you can see it there as well. There were a couple of things, if you see. Yep, that's in red. The yellow, I wanted to go back and look at a little bit more before we get further along in this process. This is largely an update for you guys, just so you could see that maybe there's a little bit of ambiguity in the reading or something like that. I know I had mentioned to Supervisor Larson before today's meeting that the declared emergency that is on your 2.8 and 2.9, we didn't define emergency. So down the line, we might want to define that when we talk about what do we declare, or how the process to declare an emergency. That's the current 2.03. And there are a couple other provisions. So if you get to page 211, the limitations on serving a committee, you'll see in my notes are come back to. That's because that's a conflict of interest provision. So I have to incorporate that into the actual code once I get that far. And then if you go, I'm not changing anything with the committees. If you get to 222 and 223, that's where you'll see some of the definitions that we discussed. So I was pulling those definitions as well and starting a general outline. It's not, this is very basic, or, it's very bare bones, I should say. Not basic, but bare bones. So it's just an initial part, but so you can see where I'm going with this. And I would recommend, if you see 2.06 and 2.07, I would recommend that those are moved. I'm starting to have conversations with department heads that if we're in the chapter already, let's just clean it up all at one time, or try to hit as many issues as we can and be more comprehensive. And so, for example, the chief deputy position, that seems to be better placed with some of the other law enforcement provisions. So these are all drafts, just so you know, this is just draft, just things that I'm working on, but I would recommend that down the line. And 2.06 was the highway commissioner. We already put that in 7, so I might just say, let's just strike it. So it's kind of confusing right now. So that's largely what I've been working on. I don't know if there's any questions. I'll keep working on the section with the definitions, the actual ethics code down the line, but you guys had first discussed or brought up definitions, so those are the ones at this point I would recommend. And I think ultimately, once the code is developed, that we cross-reference what are the key terms that we use in the code and make sure that we have those defined in what we actually vote on. So.
Remember page 211, that limitation on serving on committees. We're gonna keep that, we basically just wanna move it somewhere?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Yep,
okay.
we're not gonna get rid of it. It's a very important
I think that's
provision.
important.
It is. We'll just move that down. It's really essentially getting at nepotism. And so we'll have a provision in the ethics section. And I know there were questions that came up. I think annually we'll need to disclose everybody, all employees, all officials, that would be covered. If there's a conflict of interest, that would be part of the ethics section as well, so that we know. And with a smaller community, the good thing is we often know to some extent, but we don't always know. So we'll get that far too, hopefully. That's with the reporting period on 2/23, where that's referencing that. Any questions about that at all?
Susan, I'd just like to say, number one, thank you for delving into all this. I think you've found way more than what we were looking to do. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be much better for the entire county. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So did anybody else see anything they have a question about in what's in the handout? I haven't yet, but, okay, looking for, at this point, we read this over, you're going to continue working. If we
Absolutely.
find something we have a question about, get a hold of you, and
Absolutely.
we'll look at the next version next month. Is that where we're going?
That's correct. I'll continue bringing documents forward so you can see what I'm working on, and
Okay.
It's a work in progress.
it is.
Yep.
It is.
Yes.
And
It's a good work, though. I am glad you're doing
you.
that, though.
thank you. So do you mind if I go to the next one?
I was thinking, seeing as how Sue Ackerman
Oh,
showed
sure.
up, I'll move back to her.
Okay, well,
You're up.
I have a few
Treasurer's report.
handouts.
She's next.
And it's just basically a brief overview of, the first one is a brief overview of what the Register of Deeds Office does. It was written by a few members of the Register of Deeds Association. And then I was just gonna talk a little bit about the fee breakdown for vital records. So,
Can you turn your mic on, please?
oh, sorry. So
No,
I was
that's
just
all right.
going to talk about vital record, the fee splits, how that works. The first page basically is the vital records, how we split it. So it's $20 for the first copy of every vital record. And then it's split differently for the birth versus marriage, death, divorce, and domestic partnerships. So for birth records, of that $20 for the first copy, $7 goes to the Children's Trust Fund, $8 goes to the Department of Administration, and $5 stays with the County General Fund. And for marriage, death, divorce, and domestic partnerships, we have $13 going to the Department of Administration, and $7 stays with the County General Fund. So then the next page, I just went through in 2024, we had 2,646 vital records issued. And then I went through January through June of 2025, and we have 1,476 vital records issued. So if you just for rough math, multiply that by 2, you'll have almost 3,000, 2,952 records we should have issued by the end of the year. The last page is just our fee overview. I listed on the first part about the documents too, the recording fees, but I'm just talking about vital records right now. And the birth records are statewide issuance, and so are marriage. So if you were born or married in the state of Wisconsin, you can get your vital record at any county register of deeds office throughout the state. And death records from September of 2013 to present day, those can be also picked up at any register of deeds office within the county. But prior to that, would have to be at the county of occurrence or the county of residence at the time of the event. The only other thing with the fee structure is with vital records, all of the additional copies are $3 per additional copy purchased at the same time, and that all stays with the county general fund. And then on the last page, I just did some revenue and document statistics, so from May till July, because I did a different report for you at my last quarterly report. So this time I just went from May to July. And so we had generated $76,380.17 to the county general fund. We recorded 1,184 documents, and we had 841 vital records. Does anyone have any questions?
Just looking at your last statement there, they start charging for printing search results. I don't see a number for cost per.
It is 50 cents per page.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions? Hearing none. Unless you have more comments.
I don't have anything else.
Thank you. You bet. And the quarterly update with treasurer.
All right, I forwarded the report, or I gave it to Mary to send to you guys. Did you guys have any questions on the investment report? Other than the interest rates are going down,
Saw that,
yeah.
Yeah, they're going for everybody.
so. I know, what did you get for the latest, what term, kind of, for the latest one you've done?
The latest one would be one I moved from Oakleaf, Oakwood, I mean, to Wamedy. They had a interest rate of 3%, and I moved it to Wamedy Bank for 4.26%.
Good.
Okay.
That was like 651,000 it was.
Yep.
So I've been trying to look for the higher interest rates. And when they come up
I know that
to-
feeling.
I
Yeah,
think everybody is.
I have to be honest, that was more a personal question, because I got one I have to renew.
Wamedy Bank usually is good, and I see RCU is getting to be matching with them now, so.
Okay, any questions? The numbers were all printed in,
Yeah.
if anybody
Yeah.
took,
Currently, we are still working on the taxes. We still have 2.7 million in postponed taxes to collect. And we still have Friday and today's mail to go through.
There you go.
Oh.
Ain't mine. We were
Delin-
gone this weekend, so it probably sat there a long while.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. They're good. Delinquent taxes, we are currently at 1.3 million to collect. The foreclosures that will be coming up this fall, I have 81 parcels. One of them, of course, is for the CSI Sands. And we're at 258,000 for those foreclosure properties that we're looking at. So when the notices go out in September, I'm hoping a lot of them will go to the bank, get the loans, and they usually try to pay up front. But other than that, we are just really busy trying to get all the payments that we have receipted, and I have Tess from Land Records down there helping us, so.
good.
Any other questions, or?
I'll be stopping down later to make sure my check got here. I wasn't gonna be here in that 10-day period at the end of the month. But my
Okay.
past experience, 3 years ago?
Yes,
Where?
yes. And,
My check didn't get found till in September that I mailed in mid-July.
yeah, I did do the postcard reminders this year, and a lot of the taxpayers were very happy that I did that to remind them, because they're like, we put it away in January and forget. So,
I had mixed emotions about that one, yeah.
Me too. Plus, you had a call on that too. I had the same thing.
yeah, yeah.
'Cause,
But I was looking at cost savings for the county also. Otherwise, I have to do the envelopes, the postage, the paper
Yep.
to each
That-
individual, so this was a
That would-
huge cut
yeah,
at
Since
63
you
cents.
have nothing else to do,
Yeah,
the cost comparison after using it this year to see in past years, we've averaged, I'll just use our round numbers, 100 that are late. Now, after we post a postcard, we're only down to only 50 that were late. So therefore, this cost over here for the cards saved us potentially this much over here.
yeah, I'm
If
gonna
you could
do
do
that.
something like that, I
I
think
sure
it would
can.
be educational and worth the effort.
Yep, I will
Okay.
try to have that, ready for the next meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for that. Did you have anything else? No, are you done?
No, I'm done,
You're
unless
done, okay.
anybody has questions for
Okay,
me.
any other questions? I don't see Bridget anymore. I see she's up there, but I don't see her.
I'm here.
Okay. Did you have any questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You bet. Okay, thank you. Sorry, now it's your turn again.
Thank you. So this next item came up while I was looking at chapter 2, and as I said, I'm trying to go through and update it as it needs to be for formatting and typos, and, you know, within the handout that you have, the Ann Hempel's title changed, for example. So kind of doing, you know, just those general updates. Well, when I went through that, I discovered with the help of Mary Martin is that our supervisory districts were never formally updated into our ordinance. And I think Wendy helped as well. And we did vote on it, so the good news. We voted on it several times in 2021. So you can see that the plan was updated in September, and then the resolution for the amendment to the ordinance, I think, was in November of 2021. So it was voted on, but it just never made it to the ordinance. Because it's been 4 years, I didn't want to bring it just to your attention before we just went in and changed the ordinance. And so this is more of an FYI. If somebody asks you later on, why is 2.01 changing? We're just updating what was voted on already, lawfully voted on and approved in 2021. Just kind of catch
Just
up.
taking care of the paperwork that didn't get done, basically.
Absolutely.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably what happened there, we were switching, we lost one corp counsel and
Right,
bringing in
yeah,
a new
yeah.
one, so it
That could have been
got
part of
missed.
it, yep.
So we'll get that taken care of, but we wanted to explain it in case
Okay.
somebody all of a sudden said, well, why is this changing? We're not changing anything. We're just fixing
And
it.
it's nothing that really takes action on our committee or
Nope.
the full county board, right?
No, it's already been voted on in 2021,
Yep.
again through the plan and then the amendment.
Okay.
So just wanted to let you know why we're going in there. on
Anybody
that
else
one.
have any questions about it? Okay. That's good.
And the next,
Next one, item 11, yeah,
Oops,
11.
sorry.
Standard terms and conditions for the contract language.
so this is what I had brought, I started the discussion in June. And I met with the department heads at our management meeting and talked about this as well. And then I also talked about it individually with some of the larger departments because there will be some differences for the larger ones. I had mentioned HHS. They have additional requirements that they have to do in their annual contracts. And so we're incorporating these terms, some of them already were, but these terms into that contract for 2026. There weren't really anything, I don't think there were a ton of questions that the department heads had. I would still like to work towards having a purchase of service contract and then these attached to them. I did want to let you know that if you go to page 5, I did add in independent contractor status to these terms, just to be very clear that when we hire somebody to perform services, they are an independent contractor, they are separate from the county, they are not an employee. So that is a change, and I believe that I might have added in, since the last version, a modification to the insurance to allow on page 3, if you go to, under D, there's a paragraph that starts with dependent on the nature of the party's contract. The last part says, otherwise modify these requirements as applicable to the services to be provided. For some reason, if it's a very minimal service, and there's very low risk, I wanted to, and we don't have the full mechanism that I would recommend, which would include, consultation, and we'll do it on the back end, because it's long and short of it, we'll still have it reviewed and so forth. But we don't have a risk manager. That's kind of incorporated into our positions as it is now to review when we would want that, but that would be a very small service. So I wanted to put that in there because sometimes that happens where we'll have a vendor who comes in and maybe they need to Jeremy probably would already do this with his crew, but paint the wall. And there's very little risk to that. And having the full comprehensive insurance might be a little too much. So just to give us a little bit of flexibility. And that's on the discretion, or that's on the county's discretion. And they don't have the ability to negotiate that really. We have to agree to it. So those were the big changes between the last version. I don't know if there's any questions since you've had a little bit more time to look at it.
Susan? Yes. How would this affect any subcontractors?
That's a really,
Would that be something the county has to work through, or is that
that's a really good
included
question.
through the contractor?
It's included. So
Doesn't it take our permission to do a subcontractor, I believe?
it does. So if you go to page 4, paragraph 9, there's this an assignment provision. And in and of itself, it has to, we cannot have let me rephrase that. A contractor can't subcontract without our consent. So that's in there in and of itself. But it also has another provision that says the contractor shall advise all of their subcontractors, present and continuing, of the requirements that are within the provision, or excuse me, within this document. And then there is a line that it continues forward onto them. And that's what I'm looking for, but there is that in here. It also requires them to participate in any sort of legal action.
No, we aren't quite to a final draft of this yet, or are we at a final draft where we need to move, or we're ready to move it on?
We're pretty close. I would probably remove the second paragraph on the second period on page 310B. There's just a floating second period, but it's short of that. I just noticed that while I was flipping it forward. I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think we are there. If there's something else that you want to add in, if you want stronger language for something or another, we can. I would recommend that we start reviewing, it's been my recommendation across the board. Every year, when we have a new contract, let's review it. Let's get into it. I mentioned the purchase of service contract for HHS. Let's start getting on to an annual review schedule. So if the law changes, things come up during the year, we can put them in or address them in the contract.
Do you have any further questions or comments?
Sounds good.
Now, is this something that we do, or is this something we move on to the full county board to approve?
I looked at your authority under Chapter 2 last week. I do think to be most comprehensive, it should go to the full board.
Okay.
It's a good question. You have most of it, but in case there's ever any sort of question,
Okay.
and that's where I would naturally go to the least risky option.
Okay. So at this point, no. This is just, I haven't followed through enough on this. Do we have a resolution to that effect to
You
look
don't-
at?
You don't need it.
You don't need it?
No,
just-
this is not a
just to move-
change.
Okay,
Yep.
that's
This is a policy update.
a policy update, okay. So I guess I would be looking for a motion to move this standard terms and conditions for the contract language to be moved forward to full county board.
I'll make that motion.
Okay?
Second?
I heard, was it Doc?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Any other questions? Comments? Okay. All in favor of moving this forward to full county board, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 12, discussion, possible action on the resolution for a community reentry coordinator position. Is there anybody here to talk about that? I don't see anybody.
Brett's not here. Yeah, I thought he'd be here.
I'm trying to-
I do have the resolution here to sign if that's
Okay.
going
Right.
forward. I don't know if it was to the point of the resolution
Okay.
was ready to be signed in
Right.
each committee. I don't know.
I actually found it on the computer this
It's on,
quick.
yeah, I
And
read
might be
through
able to
it
answer a question.
and everything. It just said
Sitting on opioid.
I was hoping somebody from the department would be here just to
Kinda was-
answer any questions if we had them, you know.
Supervisor Becker, I might be able to answer some, just sitting on the opioid committee if you had.
Well, the question I had was that Brett was at the last meeting, Brett said that he couldn't use all the opioid, the funds for
Well,
that position that he was, because this
That-
is a
but-
little different than what he was talking about before.
But then
Yes.
there was,
See, but, so, can they take the full wages out of there? He made it seem like there was like, he could take half the wages
a
out of there.
percentage rather
and
than the whole thing for the position
Yeah.
altogether.
So
Can
I
he-
believe that they were trying to obtain some of the funds from a grant, and I don't know the status of that grant. There are enough funds in what we have to cover this, and if I recall correctly, they had put in language near the end of it to
Right.
to allow for the sunset, essentially.
And that's the way, Susan, we said it to start with. But at the last meeting, that's what I was gonna ask Brett about. I didn't quite,
Well, my recollection, the first discussion revolved around putting all this money into the sheriff's department for
Correct.
this.
yes.
But then he brought up that he was limited, that unless you created a non-lapsing fund for this, anything he didn't spend in '26, he'd have to give back to the general fund, or to this fund, which would present a problem back and forth. And that's why in the resolution, he's asking for 86,472. That would be for kind of 1 year of it, and the rest would stay in the opioid fund. This would cover him for 1 year. And I think that's the maximum, if he got this grant, would reduce that amount, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly.
Well, what I can add is that at the opioid committee, I did caution against binding future boards to fiscal measures. It should be voted on at the time. You shouldn't go beyond what your authority is today, essentially. And so if
Which
there
is
was a
next year,
change,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that could have been from that. Because I did provide that recommendation to keep it to 1 year.
So I believe this figure was his estimate of what the position would cost for a year
Right.
with fringe benefits and stuff. So,
Yeah, and Susan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that if we were to receive grant monies, those were for capital type items, so it would provide a computer and other needs for this position through grant monies.
Yeah, I believe so. There were other things that were,
And
was
this-
going to be attached to.
Mr. Chair, I got one question for Susan too. Susan, how long do we have, I mean, we've got that money. It's ours. So but is there a timeframe on that or no?
There's no time frame attached to it.
Okay, that's good.
And we will be getting more money. It's just that it's staggered, you know. I know that you guys have asked me through the last several years, you know, how much will we get it? And every time, I know I've kind of stumbled because it's different for each year. Yeah, and so I can't say that what we have is what we're gonna get next year or the year after that. It changes every year. So I know Forward Analytics did a fairly good job addressing that issue. And we will be getting more, as the county board had mentioned, there are more things that we have to
yeah, there's-
sign.
I don't know, has anybody else looked at that forward analytics
It's like a
analysis of
20
this?
It's like a 20-year deal.
Right, yeah,
overall,
but some
so-
of them end in 6 years, some of them,
Yeah.
one of them I think was 13 years, and another one was,
They're all over.
yeah. So, And it does specifically say if the funds no longer are available, it will take a special vote or to keep the position once, rather than automatically going on
Right.
levy. So,
And that's the part I like in here.
Yeah.
That it'll,
so. Is anybody comfortable enough with how that's written to make a motion to approve it, to move it on?
I'll make that motion, and I'd also like to say that through the opioid committee and the evaluation that we did in the community survey that was done, that this was definitely something that the community wanted to see. So I would make the motion to approve a resolution authorizing the transfer of opioid settlement funds to the Trempealeau County Sheriff's Office to support a community reentry coordinator position.
Second.
Any more questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the resolution, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Mr. Chair, I just would like to put for our viewers out there that we did approve this because in there, they're using opioid funds only, and this will not go on the burden for the taxpayer.
Right, yep. Next item up, 13, resolution to transition from coroner to medical examiner. Yeah, I didn't call Dick at all, did you? Mary, did you talk to him about being here to talk about this at all? Okay. Okay, please.
So we've been meeting,
Yeah.
Supervisor Seisha, Supervisors Miller, along with.
Please turn your mic on.
So we have been meeting for what, a couple, 3 months with Supervisor Seisha, County Board Chair Austin, myself, and Administrator Bev Monahan, discussing the possibility of moving from a county coroner position to a medical examiner position. And this is nothing new. This has been discussed in the past. In fact, it was brought up a number of years ago by the coroner herself. So this would make it a county position rather than an elected position. And through our discussion, we determined, jump in anytime here, Supervisor Seisha, that you want to add or correct me or whatever. Through the discussions, it was determined that it might be in the best interest of the county to go with a medical examiner position. It's sort of a specialized position where we might want to see requirements for employment for that position. And so with it as being a county position, we would be able to do that. This position would be reviewed by the county, much like other positions. And so we felt that it would be, the numbers are kind of uncertain at this point. I think there was a pretty lengthy discussion last time. We met with Exec and Finance. But, so we think it's a good idea to recommend going forward with this.
The only thing I would add, we're definitely waiting to see what Jackson County we might want to share.
Right.
If at all possible, obviously.
And we've got a little time. I mean, we do have to make the decision. So the decision now, I think, would be to go to, whether to go with a coroner to a medical examiner position, and then after that, how many hours do we attribute to this to? Is this going to be a shared position with Jackson
right.
County, or is this going to be a sole position with Trempealeau County?
Have you come up with any final, numbers?
No, we haven't,
No.
no.
I guess that's a big question for
That's-
everybody, I guess, yeah.
I think,
Until we get that number, we're not moving forward, obviously.
okay, because, that's my big question. And what is the advantage of this over keeping it the way it is? That you guys came up with, is there a lot of positives to it, or is it just kind of is it pretty even, or
Well, I guess
what do we gain?
our worry is, and it's always been there, it's elected, and I could maybe with popularity, maybe I could win it. And I have no clue what I'm doing, and so it could be, in this day and age, lawsuits waiting for the county. I don't know if that's true, or,
I'm just curious.
If I may, just to recall, it's an elected position, so there's no requirement to have any specialized training. There is, and I'm just going off a recall here, so feel free to jump in. There's more supervision and control if it's an employee versus an elected position to make sure that the records are here, the person is here, and things like that. And so I think those were the biggest two, if I can recall.
I would agree. There is a big concern about the records and all the things that you mentioned. There would just be more of a continuity with county employment and records and code of conduct and.
The records thing, what amazed me, I never realized that they keep them at their house. I mean, there's a lot, really.
There's a lot of them here now.
Well, I think part of it comes from our changes in the way our society is. 50 years ago, you had basically a doctor or at least a nurse in every town. You didn't have that much of a problem finding
point.
a person locally that was at least mostly qualified. And now we don't have that in our communities
I would agree.
and somebody that thinks they have the time to volunteer sort of, but it's elected, but has the time to do it, and we don't seem to be having that with a qualified person potentially.
yeah, we've been just very fortunate
Right.
that Bonnie's been available, but yeah, that's maybe not happening.
Well, you couldn't do it because you're a doc.
Oh, absolutely. You'd be at ease.
Mr. Chair, yes, I'd just like, I have talked to some constituents. There is constituents, like people have mentioned of the negative. I know there's positive, but I've talked to a lot of constituents, and they have seen the negative side effects of going to this position as this non-elected, like an examiner. Number one is the financial. There's a lot of my constituents that are very concerned about the financial part. They're, number one. And I think second to that is it was elected too. And yeah, that's the biggest changes I've seen personally from my constituents as a county board member.
Okay, appreciate the comment, thank you. But at the same time, I guess that the numbers are a concern to me. I think we have to
Yes.
keep looking, I think. But before we can even start to go to a final decision, I think we have to have something for numbers to look at.
Yeah.
As a committee, we've done.
Right, yeah,
As a committee too, that if you check around the state, most of them have, the majority of the counties
gone
have
to
a
that.
medical examiner.
due to the liability concerns, yeah.
Yeah,
No, to me, from a
and the
general.
only requirement.
I hate to
says-
take away an elected position and make it an appointed position. I don't like the idea of it, but I'm concerned that legal liability and that sort of thing probably is going to force us to go something in that direction if we can make it affordable. But we'll
I
see
would-
where we go.
I would completely agree with that, this concern about liability. We're entering into a society that's different than it ever has been. We're a litigious society. The position, as I mentioned, is a very specialized needs position. And I think it would be important to cover all our bases in a professional way.
If you recall, as a elected official, all you had to be was 18 years old and no felony records.
Right, yep.
Don't have anything to do with knowing whether the person is dead or alive or how it happened or whatever.
Right, yep.
Right.
So, just where and how we go from here,
Yeah,
are you still
we're
looking into?
still waiting to get more information.
Right.
For now, we're
Yep.
just waiting for that information before we meet again. yeah.
Right,
Right, I think that's true.
because there again, if I recall correctly, we have to have a decision made by November, really?
Right, the hope was having that made by November, right, Susan?
Before that, we have to have a vote on that by that November meeting.
Well, no further,
So
there's,
it's moving, time does fly.
Yes,
I think
even
we
when you're
keep-
not having fun.
Right, right.
When do they take out papers? Well, it isn't this,
December sometime, right?
December, don't they? Oh, that's right.
It's
that's
April.
Oh, that's right, this is
I
a
think-
fall election.
Election.
Yeah,
I think she still has another year to go on her.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get elected next.
So this, we would really need to have numbers by next month's meeting in order to approve or disapprove or send them on to full county board.
it was my
Do you guys
understanding,
think,
I'm sorry, go
do you
ahead.
think you'll have them by then?
I think what Bev was gonna do is project, Bev, Rebecca, boy, does that,
You know, it's
that's a long time
time ago,
ago.
that's, we,
Were you guys talking about that earlier? Is that,
Yeah.
is that why
Yes,
I got
you
those telewaves or?
yeah.
So I think that Rebecca was going to speculate on a budget based on what the budget is now. She compared budgets, our budget to the Jackson County budget. And she kind of went through the numbers. I don't think we can expect her to have, and we talked about this, perfect exact numbers. I don't think it's just going to happen. So, and that's what budgets are. Budgets are a projection of what you're going to spend in the next year. You want to get as accurate as possible, but she is working on that. I do, and she has to present a budget, so I think she will have something. I think it'd be safe to say we can put this on next month's meeting.
Yes,
It doesn't hurt.
agree with that.
Doesn't hurt to meet on it and talk again, so.
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I think we can put it on the agenda every month till we get one someplace.
Keep it.
And if we don't,
And I'll come back.
if we don't quite get
Thank
there
you.
this year, this time, if we gotta wait 2 more years, we gotta wait 2 more years, but I don't wanna go into something blind and then,
Sure.
like you say, a budget is just a,
She's got
kind
a
of,
hearing.
shows you a rough
Right.
idea.
Yep,
But I
yep.
don't wanna be way off either.
We want this
Yep,
on the
but we want to be as
agenda next month.
realistic as
Yep.
possible, correct?
Yep.
Yep,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, this needs to be an agenda item for next month. For sure. I don't know, do we have anything else for today, or?
That's good. Can't vote on it yet anyway,
Right,
so.
no. Item 14, discussion and possible action on the development of evaluative criteria per employee contract. And I think this was, Susan just handed me this before she left. This was the administrator review from
You want me to grab
form, I'll call it. But somehow we have to actually put together a policy and procedure on how we're going to do this review.
Where did this outline come from?
What, this?
Yeah, where did it come from? Did
This
come-
came from that
HR?
review we did last spring.
HR, same one, basically?
Basically, this is the same questionnaire, I'll call it, that was used last spring.
Okay.
Now, there was some discussion last month a little bit, that this is a good thing to do, but at this point, seems how we just did the one in the spring, that our policy and procedure for our exec finance review of this required by the contract that we signed with Susan, that just the board members, we wouldn't do a whole thing for the whole countywide, we'd just do this questionnaire again for county board members to bring back in and relook at for our purposes in September for our mandated review in September by the contract. So somehow, and I'm not sure who I can ask to help me, we need to try to set today the policy and procedure that we're going to use next month in doing this. I think this is a very good start, but I don't think this should be the only thing that we do. I think we need to have the option for especially exec finance board members to have something in addition to this, whether you have a question, comment, positive, negative, neutral, that doesn't show up here to be discussed at our meeting when we're doing the final evaluation. And I don't quite know,
Could be, we ought to just add more
just
criteria.
Just
than what's on
use
here.
this
There's
with,
17 here, we could
with,
add more.
the other comment section of this is a point to start. But but then the other comment section be brought up and allow non-exec finance board members to state comments, or state whatever they need to in regard to this that maybe isn't covered in this.
Well, that's all board members, basically.
All board members, right.
Have to have a voice
So-
in this.
Because we will be scheduling a closed session in September in regard to this evaluation. And at that point, my opinion is that although, well, personal bargaining will have to be involved because she also heads up HR, so therefore that's a different employee status, so they would have input to that part of it, where we would have the input for the overall administrator duties in the county. So, they will be in part, it'll be a joint meeting in closed session. And then it'll be open to, I will open to any other board member to have a short time to comment if they have something to say, pro, con, neutral, whatever, so that everybody has a chance, everybody on the board has a chance to comment.
Sounds good.
And the other thing that I thought Susan was looking for is per her contract, on a regular basis or ongoing in future years, how frequently do we want to set that we are going to evaluate the administrator position?
Right. My understanding, my assumption was that this will be a yearly procedure in September of some sort. Now, whatever we decide for a procedure is to be determined yet for sure. But for the board members to do something like just board members, I don't believe that would be a seriously costly thing to the county. And it would be an annual review, like all other employees get an annual review. Are you-
Yeah, something, and maybe we adapt that form to be something a little bit more, what I'd like to see that evaluation it would be more beneficial to set some additional goals for this position, as opposed to just evaluating the previous year's performance.
I see that as worthwhile, yes. But how are we going to do it because the contract says we have to do an evaluation in September, that's next month. Can we get a more, what's the word I'm looking for? other than using this, for this year, other than using this form with the additional comments by all board members for our procedure for September, and then we'd have next year to revisit this and say,
Right, I
okay,
think over the next year, I think we find something that
that is a
is
little more detailed,
maybe a little
maybe?
more comprehensive, and then include some goals, and I'm happy to work on that in the coming year if the chair or this committee feels that would be all right, or if they want to, I don't think we need to have an ad hoc committee. I think that through the exec finance committee, we can work through something that would be appropriate.
Right.
Actually, the county board meeting for September is on the 15th, so we could literally have this the end of September and vote on it. Have something that we can vote
Yeah,
on in
but
September.
this isn't even gonna be for the full county board. This will be our committee's determination. And our committee, I didn't look, what are we,
But the
We
whole
meet-
county board will have to have something for September also, right?
I don't
for
think
the
so.
15th?
No, they gotta do part of this evaluation too. It's gotta come from the whole county board.
Well, yeah, the whole county board will get it to do the evaluation, but it'll come back to this committee
Yeah.
to work with it.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to have some help from somebody. I don't know if we do this through IT and a computer, if that's the way, I don't know how we get it done, or whether we print out 17 pages of this and everybody do it on paper this year.
This will be on the agenda for August for the whole county board, so we can,
I don't
Or
think,
don't you
no,
think we
no,
have
this
to
is our
discuss-
committee. This is not, how we do it is our committee, not the full county board.
okay.
And actually, then we will make the recommendation to
Right,
the
I
full county
understand that.
board
Yeah,
on what gets done
okay.
in regard to,
So I think the most straightforward thing is to have IT disseminate this document again to all 17 county supervisors to
Right.
fill out, and then the results come directly back to exec finance. To
now,
look
when you say
through-
results, are you talking about the cumulative results or the raw data?
Raw data.
Yeah, the full data from comments and all, yeah.
Okay, yep, okay.
And then you're right, Dave, where we look at it, review it, bring it back to September's board meeting and allow any comments and make our recommendation to the full county board.
Right.
Well, get another comment, then bringing it back to the August,
No,
this should be
we're-
handed out in August to the whole county
Yes.
board, so we get that
Well-
information for September.
All the-
If
what
we
you said-
hand it out in August, they would have to get it back to us somehow before.
Well, we were talking about having IT do it. So everybody would get
Oh,
it
they
on their
would-
computer.
Oh, they would send, okay, fine, yes.
So all county board members would get it on the computer.
They would just find it there, yeah, okay.
And you and I would have to look at it and do our paperwork and then send it back in.
Well, she's also HR director, so do we have to get personnel bargaining involved in this?
Personnel bargaining will need to be involved in their section for HR.
I do have a question.
Okay. Come to the microphone, please.
They're watching.
I don't know, was this going to be included in the special meeting in early September?
I don't
I
think
don't know
this
if we
was in.
need-
this
It
was-
wasn't,
this
that's
was
for
not part
something
of-
else.
That was something else.
Okay,
no.
thank you.
I believe the special meeting in September was discussion of new position requests, I believe. So, no, this will be, how do I put it? The administrator in the administrative duties reports to our committee, so we are in charge of the evaluation. I'm,
No forum anymore.
so. Had enough of this. Okay, good enough, okay, yeah. So, so I think that's, I guess, I don't know, it sounded like they were pretty much on board with this idea, I believe. So, I don't know if we need a vote or just a consensus that this 360 review with the comments, and I don't know if we have to specify maybe as our policy or procedure that all 17 county board members will be invited to that closed session if they have something additional to speak to.
Oh, when we do have.
When we do have that, yeah. And we'll see how many or whatever, but there will be some sort of time limit imposed on the additional comments, but does that make sense? Do we have a consensus that that's how we're gonna move forward? Bridget?
Yeah, I'm all right with that, and then we can look into what we want to do in future.
Right, after we get by this September. Right, I guess.
Right.
Until Susan brought it up, what, a month ago? I did not realize that that requirement was in the contract. I hadn't seen that before, so.
Yeah, I think we all were there.
Right, yeah. Okay, well, that will be how this will go down. I'll check with IT on how to, or either I'll check or have somebody that knows what they're doing check with IT to get this out.
Wendy can do that.
Okay. Item 16, discussion/action regarding RFP services related to the GEM grant application and development of a tourism website. Okay, we'll start with your comments.
Yep, just want to let you guys know that the application period for round 2 is open. This would be wrapping the GEM grant all together for the remainder of it and working towards the tourism website. In our RFP, we are calling out that we would like the grant management piece as well included, which is something we would typically have, but since I'm just getting onboarded, we included it in the request. That's my update. Any questions?
None for me.
What's that?
None for me.
Okay, well, yeah, I do. This is a contract for a one-time grant application, or this is a contract to do several over a period of time, or what? I wasn't able to determine that sort of thing from the information I had.
So it's a grant. We're looking for about $39,500 for the website. There's no additional cost to the county. It's all included within the grant, and they would be managing the grant and the website.
And we don't pay the managers anything?
No, it's included with it. So that $39,000 is for the website and then for them to also manage it.
As long as it doesn't have anything to do with taxes
Okay, that's what I'm concerned, that there's
or levy dollars.
no levy dollar cost to this,
No.
okay? Anybody else? Come on. There we go. Seems to. So then we are advertising for a grant writing firm to do this for us.
Yes, so the first part of the grant, we had the pre-planning done, so they wrote the back end of the website already.
Okay.
So now this is the second part where they're going to put it all in place.
Okay.
And so Becky did want me to mention that we're not using any money for it. We're just using my time and Becky's time. And then we have to have a match for it. So there was 40,000 set aside for the website, but then with this grant, we would be able to give the 40,000 back.
I guess I'm still a little confused with this, based on what I'm reading here. It says we're requesting proposals for the grant development, but now you're saying you and Becky have to spend time on it, but you just said
Like,
it was paid for.
the only payment essentially is my time and Becky's time with it. Not so much Becky's, probably, but my time working with whoever we would go for the grant to manage the website. I would be working closely with them to help manage it and just oversee things, but I would not be building the website myself.
So just basically part of your job, really.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So we need a vote out of this to authorize this,
Need a motion.
or a motion to, that's what I'm talking about.
We didn't, so we're
Motion.
putting it out there. We applied for it. It's likely we'll get it, and then we've put out the
What
RFP.
happens if you don't get it?
Until we get it.
No, but we gotta propose this particular motion, it says action. Then it put on an RFP for services related
yeah.
to this, so I make a motion that we put on an RFP for the services
Okay.
for this grant,
Do I have a
for
second?
the gym grant.
Do I have a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Now, more discussion. How do you have something?
Yeah, I got a question. Yeah, I'm trying to get this straight in my head here. You're applying for this grant,
Yes.
and it's gonna cost you how much to, and you're hiring this company to write that grant?
So the grant, it's already been writ, the part of it has been written.
Who
So we
wrote
are
that?
looking.
Who wrote it?
Becky wrote it.
Okay, that's my question. And then, so if we get it, we have to match?
Nope, so if we get it, it would be we're looking for 39,500. We will not be exceeding that for the total, for whoever builds it. So there is zero cost. Because the grant would be for 40,000. The work we're requesting is 39,500.
So then we'll be done with the grant writers when we get done with this one grant, correct? This is
Correct.
not hired through for, all of a sudden they're there for the rest of the year.
Not that I'm aware of. I've not been told about that, so.
I just want to make, for this one grant, yes.
Back to David. So we're approving the grant before we get it? Is that basically what we're doing? I
No,
thought
you're
we
No,
just
we're approving the
approving the
request for,
RFP.
Proposal.
RFP.
the proposal
request for the proposal,
to do it.
That's all we're doing here.
and we should do that, huh? I guess that's kind of different, but,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
Okay,
Okay. Sorry if I made that more confusing.
so, okay, we have a motion, a second. Any more questions?
This is just to approve the RFP,
Right, yeah,
basically,
Yes.
yep.
for the grant.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Look at that. Confirm the date of the next meeting. It is, I think, were we talking that Thursday?
There's,
Because Thursday, yep, yep,
That's due to the WCA.
yep. No,
Yeah.
not for our meeting. We're doing, the first Monday is Labor Day.
Yeah, but, well, when's WCA?
What's that?
When's WCA? Oh, that's.
That's later, that's,
Yeah, that's
that's either highway or Cole
21st,
County Board, I forget which.
23rd,
Okay.
Third,
Yeah.
yeah.
21st, 22nd.
And then
23rd.
don't
It's down in the Dells.
we have a joint personnel bargaining meeting to follow the exec finance on September 4th?
Fourth, yeah. Yep. Yep. So, next meeting, September 4th. At 8 o'clock, yes. Yes. Any more questions? I will adjourn the meeting at, looks like
Get outta
9:18.
here.